Hello, ninth graders at Wheaton High School. My name is Lauren Zokowitz, and I am your ninth grade house leader. Welcome to the ninth grade reboot.
I'm Terrell Zimmerman, one of your ninth grade administrators.
Hey everyone, Nick Corsi. I am one of the other assistant principals here. We're so happy to have you. We have had quite the week. We've had a few snow days, we've had a delay, and of course we had a long holiday break. So we thought it would be great to take this time, this opportunity to kind of talk a little bit about some of our expectations moving forward. We want to highlight some of the great work that all of you have been doing throughout the course of the year. We have a special guest. We have a senior. His name is Elmer. We're going to be hearing from him about how to be successful at Wheaton High School because we still have 3.5 years to go. We'll talk a little bit about credits and what we're going to need to graduate. I think that's going to be something that we need to keep at the forefront of our mind. And one of the big things that I'm really a proponent of is self-advocacy and having that growth mindset. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. And the last two things that we're going to cover are grading. What was your grade in the first quarter? What is it currently in the second quarter? And how does that relate to your end of semester grade? And then we're going to hear from Ms. Hammond Davis. She's our college and career coordinator.
All right, so to get us started, ninth graders, we wanted to give some freshman shout outs for some students for the first semester. All of these students have showed exceptional traits both inside and outside of the classroom. So we'll just go down the list. Shout outs to Kiana, Sarah E, Ethan, Kamora, and Vinicius. And so once again, you can see their list of accomplishments for the first semester. That includes working hard in the classroom, participating on our sports teams such as soccer and basketball. The teachers highlighted them for being pleasant with them in the class and being willing to help others and staying engaged. So once again, thank you students for your hard work throughout the first semester. We definitely want you to keep it up for the second semester. And we want all of our ninth graders to strive to do well and be successful during the second semester. So for our students, our ninth graders that we just shouted out, you can collect your prize in room 2001 on the next day of school.
Okay, Wheaton Knights. Most of you are behaving exceptionally well. We just want to remind you guys the expectations for Wheaton High School. So we have compiled a bunch of upperclassmen to remind you what they feel like respectful, responsible, and hardworking looks like at Wheaton High School. So listen up, and this is what respectful means to Wheaton High School students.
Knowing when you've crossed a line, when you've gone too far.
Make sure to always have your mask up and to make sure that you pay attention in class and listen to your teachers.
Treating others the way you want to be treated.
Let's go to class on time.
Treat people with consideration and being polite.
Being polite to the people around you at all times.
To be kind, understanding, and attentive to others and their feelings.
I keep my mask on when the security guard tells me to. You know, getting to school on time is very respectful to all the teachers.
Respecting your elders.
Advocating for yourself.
Treating others the way that you want to be treated and becoming a better person by doing so.
Put your mask up above your nose. You should keep everybody else in.
Alright, you guys ready? Let's go. It's Team Builder Friday.
Shut up.
Respect your teachers.
Awesome. Thank you, upperclassmen, for those special notes. And you can see lots of tips on how to be respectful to students, staff at Wheaton High School. Let's go to the next slide. What does being responsible look like to you at Wheaton High School? And this again is upperclassmen showing you what responsibility looks like at Wheaton High School.
Make sure to do your assignments before their due date.
Keeping up with your assignments.
Honor your commitment.
Guys, make sure to turn your assignments in on time.
Getting to class on time.
Clean up after yourself.
Waking up on time.
Get assignments done on time.
Get to school on time. Making time for yourself and mental health so you can be happy.
Let me just reiterate that a lot of those students talked about on time, being on time to school, getting to class on time in between classes, and making sure that you get those assignments turned in on time. So I think that was a good theme there. And lastly, what does being hardworking mean to you?
Keeping your head down and just getting it done.
Always try your best.
Persevering and getting work done.
Giving 110% into everything that you do.
Trying your best even when you want to give up.
Trying your best to complete the task that you're given or have to do to the best of your abilities.
Taking time out of your comfort time to do something that will better you in your future and as a person.
Your work done on time.
Staying focused and getting the work done.
Me doing my work as soon as it's assigned.
Okay. Woo. Next up, you are going to hear from Elmer Mendoza. He is a model Wheaton High School student, so I definitely want you to listen to everything that he has to say. He is a senior. He has been involved in sports and clubs throughout his high school career, starting with his freshman year. He did not take that freshman standpoint that was, oh, I'm new to Wheaton High School, I'm going to wait to try things out. He definitely immersed himself into sports and clubs, which is very important. And we do know that a lot of clubs are on hold right now, but give it a few weeks or a month and we will definitely be back on track. He also took a lot of challenging courses and he rose to that challenge. He made sure his assignments were done on time. He was very studious. At the same time, he did lots of sports and clubs. He has applied to University of Maryland, Johns Hopkins, California Institute of Technology, and Rice. He's also a Questbridge Scholar. So he is very hardworking. So here's a little message from him about how to be successful in your 9th grade year and beyond at Wheaton High School.
Hello, Wheaton class of 2025. How have you all been doing? My name is Elmer Mendoza. I'm the current NHS president of Wheaton High School. As 9th graders, I understand the transition from middle school to high school must have been jarring for you all. I know it was for me. High school classes were nothing like classes in middle school. How many of you are currently taking AP classes this year, and how many of you think they're difficult? For me, taking 2 AP classes freshman year was one of the most difficult things I've ever done. The workload wasn't like anything in middle school, and it took me a while to get accustomed to it. Things that worked for me were being organized to keep me a planner to keep track of my homework and assignments. If it hadn't been for my planner, I would have been never able to remember what I had to do that night. If you find that your phone distracts you from doing your work, something my friends and I used to do is take a time-lapse video of you doing your work to keep your hands off your phone. At the end of every week, you could look back at your time-lapse and look at the effort you put into your studying that week. Remember not to overwork yourself and take breaks when you have to. One time I was doing a time-lapse of me doing a push, and then I fell asleep halfway through because I was so overwhelmed with work. So the video ended up being 5 minutes of me sleeping instead of doing homework. School isn't just about the classes and homework though. The friends and connections you make now in 9th grade are going to stick with you for the rest of your time at Wheaton High School. Remember that Wheatonites are respectful, responsible, and hardworking. It's important to have a safety net of good friends ready for when you need it most. So many times have my friends saved me on assignments or troubles when I needed help. The study group I formed in 9th grade is the same study group I have now. Remember that not only students but teachers are also here to support you when you need help. Whenever I need help with running the NHS or a letter of recommendation for an internship or a scholarship, Ms. Z is always there to help. The adults in this building will always have your best interests at heart. Don't be afraid to come to them if you ever need help or just need someone to talk to. Aside from the people, extracurriculars and sports also make up a huge part of your high school experience. If there's any advice I would give about extracurriculars, it's this. Join clubs and sports that you are seriously interested in and passionate about. If you join Threads Club and it turns out you don't even like to knit, you're going to have a miserable time. If you like running, join cross country. If you like anime, don't be afraid to join an anime club. If you have a passion for something and there's no club for it, find a sponsor and go start that club. Clubs and sports are here so that you can have fun while also expanding your skills and passions. When it comes time to write college essays, I can guarantee you that an essay by a student who cares about the environment and joined Green Team will sound so much more impressive than a student who became the president of 5 clubs that they didn't even really care much about. Find clubs that will help you express yourself the best you can. I've been doing cross country since 9th grade, and I've made friends that have stuck with me through all 4 years of high school, and I hope beyond, while doing a sport I loved. Remember that you are the future of Wheaton High School. The next 4 years will be filled with successes and failures. If you know how to persevere through any tough situation, have a group of friends to support you, and participate in activities you love, your experience will be unforgettable. Thank you.
Okay, next up, I want us to, oh goodness, sorry about that. I want us to go over, give me a second. Go over the credits needed to graduate.
Yep.
Mr. Zimmerman?
All right, 9th graders is Mr. Zimmerman again. So we wanted to review this chart. We know you have seen it before, but we definitely want you to take a good look again and memorize this because you will see it every single year. So the first thing that I want to mention as a reminder, you guys are going through registration as of now. Some of you have started registering for your classes, or I should say have completed it. And some of you are just waiting for your social studies classes to go down to counseling to complete it. But with that said, you can still complete that on your own. Registration is due January 21st. So what you would do is to log on to your Student View account. On the left-hand side, there's a tab for course registration, and you will go through and select your classes for the next year. So friendly reminder, 2 courses that you need every single year in high school are English and math. So next year, you will be taking English 10. And then for math, you'll be enrolling in the next math course that you're taking. So for instance, if you're in algebra, you'll move along to geometry. And if you're currently in geometry, you will go forward to Algebra 2 or Honors Algebra 2. For science and social studies, you need a minimum of 3 credits to graduate. So next year, you will sign up for your next course in each of those as well. It's a little bit different for each of you because, for instance, in science, some of you started off with biology, and some of you may be in AP physics. So the next course is traditionally chemistry, but once again, you're going to take a look at that course registration bulletin and find the next course for yourself in both science and social studies. And once again, we want you to take, challenging courses throughout your time there. So if you haven't taken the AP course, 10th grade is a good opportunity to explore that as well. You will have still 2 more years after that if you feel that you're not ready, but we definitely want you to challenge yourself and making sure you're taking the most rigorous courses for yourself as you progress through high school. So those are the 4 classes that you'll pretty much see every single year from English, math, science, and social studies. The next thing I want to touch upon are the credits that you need to graduate in the areas of fine arts, PE, technology, and health. And so for this year, we shared this with you, our current 9th graders, you guys, you're going to have to take a full year of health beginning next year before you graduate. So there's health. You have an option of a fine art, several options for PE, and several options for technology. Now, you can't take all 4 of them and fit them into your schedule probably at this point for 10th grade. Some of you may have even started with some of these courses. So if you knocked out PE or technology, think about taking a fine art for the next year. If you're done PE and fine art, health might be next for you. So go through and make sure you know which classes you have already taken. If you need a friendly reminder, once again, you can go to your Student View tab. There's a button on the left called Course History. It will let you know which classes you have already taken, which classes you're currently signed up for, and which classes you currently need to fill. So if a course is completed, you'll see a bar that's highlighted green. That means it's complete. If you see it highlighted a yellowish mustard color, that means you're currently taking that class or scheduled to take that class for this year. And if it's gray, that means you have not registered or have not taken that class yet. So just a reminder for you to be able to see what classes you have taken and what you still need to take for the future. Last but not least, we want to remind you guys, as all of you should be in some sort of program completer, whether There's the Engineering Academy, Bioscience, AOIT, that you also want to take your next class in those areas as well. So some of you have taken your 2 foreign language credits already, but remember, you need 4.5 elective credits in order to graduate. So for us, since we have these academies, if you complete a program, that takes care of your elective credits for you. And this is just a reminder of how many credits you need for each program in order to complete that program completer. So once again, get familiar with this chart as you're going through to register for the next school year. Just remind yourself to take a look at what you have already taken and what you need to take in order to graduate from high school.
And one last thing to keep in mind, all of you are in English 9 right now, algebra or geometry or pre-calc, biology or AP physics or US history. All of those classes are required to graduate. So you have to pass this semester in those classes to make sure you're on track to graduate. That is very necessary. And speaking of that, we're going to move on to the next slide. Mr. Corsi talks about self-advocacy.
So when I think of self-advocacy, I think about having a growth mindset. A growth mindset is the ability to go from saying, I can't do this, to I can't do this yet. And I believe at Wheaton High School, we really do have some of the best teachers around. And they chose this profession because they want to be in a position to help others. But being a 9th grader is learning how to take ownership of your own learning. And we understand that not everybody has the skills to take that ownership, and everybody has the skills to be successful. All of you have overcome adversity in the past. Think back to the pandemic, virtual learning, how difficult some classes were. You thought, I'm never going to get through this yet, and you made it. So when you find yourself in a classroom and there's a concept that's being presented and you don't quite understand, one of the most courageous things that you can do is raise your hand and ask for help. I think that's the single greatest characteristic someone can possess, is the ability to ask for help. It takes a lot of courage. It is not a sign of weakness. So please, if you don't understand something, or if you're missing many assignments and you don't know where to start, ask your teacher. Ask me. Ask Ms. Olkowitz, Mr. Zimmerman. We'll love to sit down with you and help you organize and prioritize your work. One of the easiest things I think some students find is sending an email to their teachers. I worked with a number of students and just creating a template on how to ask for help and sending that email to their teachers when they're behind in some courses and some assignments and they don't know where to start, okay? This year, we haven't had very many discipline incidents, which I think is fantastic. It speaks to the respectfulness, the responsibility, and the hard work and that all of you are demonstrating. But I do want to reiterate the importance of, if you see something that you know is not the right thing, to speak up, to tell an adult, okay? Even if it's something as small as someone not wearing a mask. Because if students are not wearing masks, then we can get sick. Maybe if we have enough, we're going to get shifted to virtual learning. And that's not something any of us want to do. So take ownership for yourself, okay? And take ownership for your learning. Take ownership for your responsibility. Try to be more of a leader and not a follower. If you're one of those students that are in the hallway and you're a hall walker, and you have other students and other friends that are hall walkers, they're controlling your education, okay? So take that ownership back. Tell yourself what the right thing is that you need to do and get yourself back into class. Don't let other students dictate what your future is going to look like. Take ownership of it, okay? Ms. Olkowitz, you want to go to the next slide?
Yep.
All right, so right now, I want you to think about what your first quarter grade was. This letter that you're going to see on the left-hand column, that will be what your first quarter grade was. And then if you know where you are currently in your second marking period grade, go ahead and find that. So for example, if you had I'm looking at the second column here, if you had a B in biology in the first marking period, and you currently have a C in biology in the second marking period, well, your final grade is going to be a D, okay? So really familiarize yourself with this slide. I want you to go into Student View, into Synergy, find out where you currently stand in your class so you have a better idea of what your semester grade is going to look like. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at that red circle here. This is the most important thing, okay? Students, if you had an E in the first quarter, you can still pass the semester. You had an E in the first quarter and you get a D in the second quarter, you can end up with a D. But you can't get a D in the first quarter and an E in the second quarter and then pass the semester. That's the most important thing. So again, taking ownership of our learning. I want everyone to log into your Student View, find out what your current grades are, and then if you see and notice that you're behind, reach out to a teacher, reach out to an adult to help you get back on track. In this next slide, go ahead.
Sorry, Mr. Corsi, let me reiterate that when we went over the credit slide, you saw English 9, US history, biology, geometry, algebra, and this final semester grade counts for half of that credit. So if you do not pass, if you end up with an E, you're unfortunately have to take it again. So this is why this chart is so important. So you understand that this is your semester grade and that will be on your transcript and that will count for half of that credit.
So, Coach, you want to go to the next slide? All right, so I'm going to introduce you to one of the greatest assets that we have here at Wheaton High School. Her name is Miss Hammond Davis. She is our college and career coordinator. Each of you has a very specific pathway that you can choose. We can take our classes and we can mentally prepare ourselves to pursue college, or we can choose to pursue a specific career. Ms. Hammond Davis is going to work with you to identify what your best possible pathway is and help lay out a blueprint on how to help you get there. So we're going to introduce Ms. Hammond Davis.
One take.